This is the THV Garden Party with Tasha Carlock.
Welcome to the THV's Garden Party. I'm Tasha Carlock. Thank you all for joining us this afternoon. Well, discussing the Great Hang-Up topic this month, we have our legal advisors. We have Gary Holt and Associates, and we also have Brianne Wallace. Thank you all for joining us.
Thank you, Tasha.
Thank you. Well, we have springtime is here. The weather is nice. We have also more people getting out doing sports and more activities outside, such as cycling and running, jogging. But how does that tie in with distracted driving?
It's a big effect. People on bikes, people jogging, pedestrians, they don't have the protection of a car. And texters hit them. There's yet another tragedy of a woman in Morrilton who lost her husband of 17 years who was on a bicycle.
Right.
You know, I don't ride bikes, but I got friends that do. To me, exercise is 30 minutes on a treadmill under an air conditioner with the History Channel.
Right.
But these are real people who have real families.
Right.
And I'm going to do your viewers a favor and turn the rest of this over to Bria, and he's much smarter than me.
Okay, Bria, tell us a little bit about it. Okay, you have people that exercise and they go outside. You even have pedestrians, people that walk their dogs. They're affected by distracted drivers, and I thought this month's topic was very interesting because you don't hear so much about accidents that occur with distracted driving and pedestrians. Tell us a little bit of how they're affected by it.
Well, what happens is that usually when there's an accident with a pedestrian or a cyclist, you just find out that there was an accident with a pedestrian or cyclist. They don't do a lot of studies on were they distracted or not. But what they've been finding is that more and more the drivers are distracted and that they might look down for a second to change the station, check their phone, and they don't see the cyclist that's, going maybe 10 miles an hour when they're going 40.
Right.
And so one of the things that we can do as cyclists and runners is try to wear bright clothing and really be aware ourselves when we're out there.
So is that the only thing that maybe cyclists or runners can do to protect themselves from distracted driving, is the brighter clothes, or make yourself seen a little bit more?
Well, you can get lights for the front, red lights for the back, horns and stuff, but I mean the real main thing is to be aware yourself. And it's not to say that if a distracted driver hits you or you get out of the way, but if we're more aware, it's a little bit easier for you to see if that car is veering off into the bike lane.
Is there certain incidents that tie pedestrians? You were talking about the incident with the lady and her husband, and we'll speak on that later on. Reporter Lauren Clark will talk about it in her story this evening. But are there other instances that tie the two together with distracted driving and pedestrians?
Yes, there's been some studies that have been released where they've found that there's been more of an increase since iPods and people have been using, smartphones more when they've both been driving and cycling and running. That's one thing that people don't realize a lot, is that you can be distracted as well as a pedestrian or a cyclist. Sometimes the stories can be kind of amusing. Like recently there was a lady up in Indiana that walked into a river because she was texting and didn't realize how close she was.
Right.
But other times, we have the critical and the sad stories of when it's a person that might not be paying attention, it might be texting as they're walking and doesn't see that the crosswalk is blinking and somebody's turning. So it can go both ways, unfortunately.
It definitely can, and we need to be more aware of this, and I thank you all for bringing more awareness, because you don't hear about this very often, or it's rare that you hear instances like this, but it does happen. And so as you're out, and if you are a cyclist, if you are a runner, a pedestrian, walking your dog, be very cautious and careful, because it's not just the distracted drivers that can be a distraction. You could also be a distraction as well. So be very careful and cautious. And thank you all for joining us on the Garden Party with the Great Hang Up and Gary Holt and Associates.
Thank you, Tasha.
We'll have more next month.